Hey folks, so a little change of plans this week. I was hoping to finish up this whole spindle control. I think I've got it nailed down with the optical isolators, but something crazy happened. A customer from a few months ago emailed me the other night, and he has a pretty sizable order for me. So I went ahead, got the job, so I'm super excited. It's the biggest order I've had yet for anything. So I got that. Problem is, my mill doesn't even work right now. So I've got the steppers and everything working. The three axes are moving, but my spindle isn't turning on. So tonight I'm gonna work to take that Treadmill motor controller and integrate it with the Sieg normal motor. So the first thing I need to do is eliminate this Treadmill dashboard, like controller board. So the only thing I'm still using in it is this little tiny micro switch here. And if you look at it, it just runs AC into the micro switch and goes to the rest of the setup. So I'm going to just find the blue wire that's the output on it, the black wire that's the input, bridge the two, effectively eliminating that switch. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't going to be out here every time the mill's running. And when the mill is not running, I go ahead and flip my power switch on the entire power strip. So this entire setup is dead when I'm not out here. Because you effectively don't have a switch. This thing would be live all the time otherwise. And this is just temporary until I can get the spindle speed control going and some relays to enable it and all that kind of stuff. Alright, so normally I wouldn't use these little chintzy butt connectors, but I've literally got maybe an hour or two to get this up and running before I need to go inside and get an order for what type of end mills I'm using and get some material on order. This has to happen quick. This guy's on a super tight timeline. He wants 50 pieces cranked out and shipped in about a week and a half. So I'm going to be jobbing. So I went ahead and snipped the wires off of where that switch, that micro switch would go. And I'm just going to butt splice them together. And I'll probably wrap some electrical tape around them too, just for safety. So now we've got, like this cord comes from the wall. I've got a 15 amp fuse, which came with the Treadmill. And now instead of going through a thermal switch on the motor, or a switch on here on the board, now it's just going to go directly into the board. So we bypass both of those. And then I also snipped this white wire off. This is going to be AC power going to the little motor that lifts up the back of the Treadmill to change the incline. So just get that out of the way. And then these two wires also go to the back motor, so this whole harness can now be, it looks like it's just got a piece of tape and it can go away. Okay, now it's starting to look a little better. So the board, or the big control board, is gone. We just got the motor controller getting power, and I got this big long cord that provides the potentiometer input. Alright, sorry guys, I kind of left you in the dust there. This is, if you can't tell, I'm a little frazzled tonight. I'm like, every time I get a job, I go into like, holy crap, I just made some money, and then instantly it's followed by panic. I got so much stuff to do, I got to deliver. So I'm in panic mode right now, trying to figure out what all I need to do to get this order out on time. But what I decided to do tonight is just pretty horribly wire this thing in. Just get the wires making contact and not, you know, touching the wrong things. So what I do is, it's horrible back here. I've got electrical tape and everything everywhere. So yes, there's my nasty wiring. It's just for tonight. I'm not gonna try and make any parts with this or anything. That would be crazy. But pretty much what I wanted to do is give this board power straight out of the wall, which that's what it's doing. Power straight out of the wall through that little, this is a 15 amp fuse in here. It runs into the board. The DC motor power is the black and the red. It's going to the mill. And then I've got, out of this connector, going to my potentiometer. I fire it up, and As you can see, she turns. Probably can't tell on the video, but it's turning backwards. So I took a guess at which one was positive, which one was negative. I thought I had it right, but apparently I don't. So that's just a matter of flipping around the two DC outputs going to the motor. But at this point I'm relieved at least the spindle turns. I think I should be okay. I might as well actually crank it up and just make sure it scoots. That's not too shabby. It does with that, it's got this gigantic choke, and I didn't want to mess with any of the, electronic setup, so I left it on there. But that's what makes it ramp up and down so slowly, is that choke is smoothing out that signal. So that's fine with me for now. That won't hurt anything. So for now, I'm going to call this good. Sorry it's so frazzled. And hopefully I can kind of go back through this weekend while I'm waiting on materials and tools and clean all this up before I start actually milling anything. Alright, so it's a few nights later since I initially started this week's video. So you saw it running with a bunch of wires taped together and everything's super sketchy. So tonight I went through and really focused on cleaning everything up, soldering every connection, heat shrinking everything, mounting the motor controller, running my wires so that they're not all over the place. So I just wanted to kind of show you what I did and go over the connections necessary for this treadmill controller to drive this the mini mill spindle. Alright, so this is the back of the mill here. I've got all these wires here. And so let's get, there we go, those out of the way. So the bottom wires there are the 3 blue ones, and then I've got a black and a white one. The black and the white one are numbered 1 and 2 on mine. All the wires coming out of the mill have these little tiny loops on them with numbers. So 1 and 2 are the DC inputs to the motor. So I've got those running to the motor control board, and then I've got these 3 blue wires. That's P1, P2, P3. Those are your potentiometer wires. So that is all that I'm using that's coming out of the mill. Everything else is just hanging loose. So any electrical tape you see there is actually, it's not holding anything together or doing anything or preventing anything from arcing. All it's doing is keeping these little loops on the wires so I don't lose them and have to check for continuity and figure out what everything is later if I ever need it again. From there I just kind of taped it all into kind of a little bit better bundle than I had before. And really what you care about though is this board. So it's actually on right now, you can see it. Basically you've got the black wire here and the red wire here are what's going to the motor. The black wire still is running into that choke and then going into the motor. So over here this wire is a series of wires, and it's got your 3 potentiometer wires going into the board. So that's where those are going. So it supplies 12 volts to the potentiometer. Potentiometer has the wiper and the ground connected, so those 3 wires are just wire them exactly how they were on the mill. No problems there. And then you've got your 2 white and a blue. Those are the wires going to the actual 110 outlet. And there's still a fuse right here in between. So yeah, right there. That's just a fuse. So no big deal. Yeah, that's really it. Pretty simple. You got AC in, you've got your potentiometer 3 wires, and then you've got your DC motor output. And that's it. So then if you come around to here, like everything's powered up, running. This does nothing anymore. It's totally disconnected. But then this guy still works. And there you go. And then that's full blast. And this is what I'm talking about, how it slows down really slowly. There you go, and then it shuts off. So that's about it for this week. It was just a mad dash to get this thing functional again so I can knock out this big order. So it's the biggest order I've ever had, so I'm really excited. I could not just pass it by and say, sorry, my mill's not working. So with that, I might not have a video out next week, but the following one, whenever I get a video out, probably 2 weeks from now, will be hopefully attacking this spindle speed control, and we'll get it nailed down once and for all. I've got another circuit which I am like 99% sure it's going to work. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you in a week or two.